Believe it or not, I was actually an ethical vegan who was flipping burgers at one point, and I really actually still don't see it as something that was conflicting with my values. I don't think that it is something that I know that it's something I didn't want to do. I didn't like doing it. I like the actual job itself. Like, I like the people and I like, the job itself, other than the animal products that I had to deal with constantly. Now, my job is primarily plant-based. There's still some animal products, but it's much minimized. It's a step in the right direction. But I really don't think that it is against an ethical vegan's point of view. I don't really think that it conflicts with them if you are a burger flipper, if you are doing something that has to do with animal products. And the basic reason behind that is because when you go vegan, if you do it for ethical reasons, you're doing it to decrease the demand for animal products. You're doing it to decrease the demand for leather and fur and meat and dairy and honey and like all of these things. So that's why you do it. And when you go vegan, nobody else is going to get a letter in the mail saying, hey, Joe Schmo down the street just went vegan. You got to start doubling your meat intake. And your sister, she's got to start doubling her dairy intake. Like that doesn't happen. Nobody's going to consume those animal products if you don't eat them. So that's why there's going to be a decrease in animal products when you don't eat them. I know, it's shocking. But if you don't flip those burgers, somebody else will. Somebody else is going to flip those burgers. Those burgers are going to get flipped one way or the other. Now, I think there are two different types of ethical vegans. There are the emotional ethical vegan and the logical ethical vegan. And one is not necessarily better than the other. Actually, majority of us would be either one, depending on different scenarios. So what I feel is the emotional ethical vegan is someone who just doesn't like dealing with animal products at all. They're obviously against creating the demand for it, but they wouldn't want to even touch the meat. The damage has already been done, but they just don't even want to touch it. Same thing with, like, if you go to the thrift store. I don't really have a problem with buying something that has a little bit of fur on it or a little bit of leather on it if I buy it from a thrift store, because the damage has already been done. The demand has already been created. That product is already out there, and it's just sort of like secondhand now. If I were to go into a store and buy new clothing, I would not be okay with buying anything that had any leather, any fur, anything on it. Which is why, for my last pair of running shoes that I bought Mizuno, because you don't even have to do any research with Mizuno. They are a 100% vegan shoe company, so it's just easy. Brooks, Mizuno, and Newton. Fun fact. So if you want to get any running shoes and don't want to do any research because you're lazy, buy from any of those three companies. But yeah, I feel like the emotional ethical vegan would be like, no, I just went vegan and I'm going to get rid of my leather wallet, I'm going to get rid of my fur jacket, I'm going to get rid of all those things. And the logical ethical vegan would just say, hey, the damage has already been done, I'm going to continue to use my wallet, I'm going to continue to use my belt or whatever it is until it gets so worn out that I need to get a new one. And then, now that I'm going to be making a conscious decision and making a conscious decision of financially supporting certain companies, whether they're plant-based or animal-based, now I am not going to buy that leather product. Now I'm going to buy something made of hemp or cotton or, I don't know, fake leather, whatever you want. But that, I think, is the difference between emotional ethical vegan and logical ethical vegan. And I feel like in the food industry, I'm a logical ethical vegan. But if it was like in an animal slaughterhouse, oh, fuck that. I'm an emotional ethical vegan for that. Like, I'm not going to kill an animal. I mean, if you think about it, though, if you're not killing that animal, somebody else will. They're going to put somebody else in that place to kill that animal. So, I mean, technically, you're not really making any worse. I mean, you specifically are, so that's why I wouldn't want to do it. I would totally be an emotional ethical vegan at that point. But if the damage has already been done and I'm just like flipping a burger or like something like that, like, I don't want to do it, but I know that it's going to get done one way or the other. So anyway, that's my little rant. I really don't think that there is too much of a conflict with being an ethical vegan and being a burger flipper or anything in the animal product industry. It just depends if you're an emotional ethical vegan or a logical ethical vegan in that circumstance.